to accept Christ. Wow. And that's what that song is about. It's the dedication. It's the commitment that we make to follow Jesus Christ no matter what. I hope and I pray that we will, as American Baptists, continue to strive to tell others, though none go with you, we still will follow, and we still will stand for who Jesus Christ is in our lives and in this community. Go forth. Be the child and the Christ that you follow. Be that light. If you can't be the light, at least show them where the light switch is, you know? So that they too can make those decisions to follow Christ. So again, I say thank you. On behalf of those in Northeast India and other places around the world, thank you for your missionary giving, your mission dollars that go towards supporting those missions. Because we can't go. I can't go. I wouldn't be very good at it. But we can support them. We can support them through our prayers and through our finances. So I say thank you for doing that, for financing them and supporting them. And I hope that in 150 years or maybe even less, you can have a gathering, maybe at the 200, and have a large group of people here. You got to put up a tent out here to the side and really have a whole big celebration. I pray that for you. Thank you.
All right, and now Reverend Boggs. I remember Reverend Boggs very well. Got out of the Navy, he was pastor there from 82 to 86. But now you live in Grove City, Ohio? Wonderful.
And all of Columbus is in mourning today.
Yes, those in Lafayette are indoors.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And blessings and prayers for you. Think of you folks often. And a lot of good memories. Some things that I don't even remember that I'm supposed to. People have reminded me today of, and are well aware of that. I've got a number of things. I've been thinking this last week, knowing I was hopefully going to be able to come, and just some memories from the time that I spent here. I remember when I candidated to be pastor of this church, that weekend I happened to stay with the Kurds. Nobody had told me about the Cordova drag strip. And it just happened to be one of those weekends when they had one of those big rocket engine cars up there. And I had just barely gotten to sleep. And all of a sudden this wakes me up. And I'm thinking, Lord, is this it? I don't even get a start here yet. So I asked him, does that take place every Saturday night? No, just occasionally, once or twice during the summer. So that was my first real memory of being here in Cordova. One of the other things I remember is had a pretty good youth group while we were here, a number of young people. And I don't remember who exactly it was, but one of the young ladies is sitting right there, Kim. Deanna was here earlier, and I might have been Stacy that was with us that day. But I know I had at least 3 or 4 of those girls we had invited. I think maybe it was their 8th grade graduation, as I think of it. And I promised to take them either for bowling and pizza or something over to go down into East Moline, someplace in the quad. We get done with what we're doing, and on our way home, And the girls get the idea, since I'm still a single fellow at that time, that they're going to roll the windows on the car down. And when we go by some attractive looking young lady along on the sidewalk, that they're going to yell something out at her. And then they're going to duck and make it look like I'm the one that said it.
They were helping.
They were helping, yeah. And then I remember those days when all of a sudden I'd go into the kitchen and Virginia would be there. Those of you that didn't know Virginia won't understand that, but she would be there. I remember Arnold McLaughlin. Arnold, a simple farmer. Arnold got me bowling here when I was here. But I would remember every once in a while, Lois and he would invite me out, and I'd help him around the farm with something, I don't know, probably watch while he did it more than anything. But then we'd go in and we'd have dinner, and then we'd decide that he wanted to play checkers. Here I am with a college degree and 4 years, a master's degree, and I'm thinking, okay, we're going to have a nice game of checkers here, and I'm just going to whoop Arnold, and we're going to go home. I never won a game of checkers against that man! Oh my goodness. And then, I don't know, some of you will remember, there were a couple of winters when we decided we'd have worship service down in the basement just to save on finances. Well, one of those mornings, I decided, I think I kind of instituted the children's sermon when I was here. I did a children's sermon using honey. And I hadn't eaten anything that morning. And I ate that honey, just a spoonful of it, but I don't remember a single thing that happened the rest of that morning. Somehow, yet, I literally was on a high, okay? I've never been high on drugs, but if that's what it's like, I'm guessing that that's perhaps what it's like. But I felt like my feet were about this far off the floor the rest of this morning, and I was just kind of floating around, and I have no idea what I preached on and what I did the rest of that morning. I hope I didn't do anything else. I remember because Leon Russell's birthday was right a day or so, either before or after mine, that I would spend birthdays with the Russells. And we would have a good time. And I've got a picture in my pocket that my mom had taken somehow, or somebody had taken and given to her, and she had put on here Gary's birthday party with the youth in 1982. And I recognized some of the faces of the kids. Kim is in there, along with Jenny Janong and Mark Hingstrom and Tammy Wilkins and I'm not sure who all else. Jody Nellens. Okay, Jody Nellens was the other one that we could make out in there. So if anybody wants to see this picture, I've got a picture from, what was that, 1982, 36 years ago, of some of the young people at that time. If you see the picture in there, it was while I was here that Peter Borzica. Anybody know Peter Borzica? Peter Borzica was the representative from Judson College that came and spoke on a Sunday and got all of you to pledge money to Judson College and came around with me during that next week. Well, Peter says, I've got this gal over at Judson College that you ought to meet. And he was a good Greek man, a good Greek matchmaker, and he introduced me to my wife, Pat. Pat and I met towards the middle end of February in 1984. We were engaged by the middle of April and married by the end of July. So less than 6 months later. Now during that time, Pat would come over from Judson College to visit on the weekend. She'd usually come after she got off work. She had a job on campus. And she would come over, so she wouldn't get here till about 10 o'clock, 10:30. And she would park her car in the driveway back here. Nice garage back there now. That's much bigger and better than what we had back 48 years ago, okay? But she would park there, and rather than get my car out of the garage, I would just take her, and I would take her out either to the Nelsons or over to the Sadoffs. And she would spend the night there. But then I would drive her car back, and he would sit in the driveway all night long. Some of the ladies in the church got to wondering what was going on and how their pastor was keeping his fiancée there overnight with him. And we had to assure them that nothing nothing was taking place. But Pat was either at the Nelsons or the Sadoffs on those weekends that she visited. I don't know, I don't remember all of their names, but the Wilkersons, you were talking about red and yellow, black and white. Well, Cordova has basically been a pretty much Caucasian village. But while I was here, there was an African-American family that moved into town, and I think there was 5 or 6 kids from Ernie, who was like a freshman in high school, 8th or 9th grade, down to little Willie that was probably 3rd grade or something like that. And those girls got a paper route, and I would on Sunday mornings, because my mom had helped my brother and I with our dispatch route on Sunday mornings, driving us around, and those papers were heavy. So I'd get up and I'd take those girls around. Well, about 15 years ago, I think it was Tony. Tony said she'd called about 8 or 9. She'd looked up Gary Boggs on Facebook or whatever at the time, and had started calling people to try to find me. And she finally did, brought me to tears. Just to say thank you. And what an impact that it had been for me just to take that hour on Sunday mornings and to drive her and her sister around with those papers. That's part of the ministry that this church has to the community, as we've talked about it, and to be able to do those kinds of things. I remember there was one year when my mom visited, I don't know if it was at Easter or at Thanksgiving, but the church had this beautiful linen or lace, whatever, tablecloth. And right after that, it came up missing. And so I always teased my mom that she took that lace cloth. And the irony of it, no, here's the irony of it, is that 2 years later when she visited again, all of a sudden it showed back up. Which made me question her even more. I don't remember his name, but I think it was Cora Howard's grandson. No, little guy.
Jason's last name is
Jason.
Bentley.
Bentley, but yeah, he wasn't a Howard, but he was a Bentley, okay? But I would do the children's sermon. Why? How? Why? I couldn't get through a children's sermon here with him on Sunday mornings without him having at least 3 or 4 questions. And it tested my patience at times, but, I remember it. I remember it. The way we ministered to one of the children here. I remember, I realized today as I came back why God called me, had you call me here to be pastor when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. That ramp right there. I could still go up and down it, okay? My knees ached when I got up earlier. I've come up it 3 times now. Each time is taking me about 5 seconds longer to do that. But there was a day, I had a wedding here. I don't remember whose wedding it was. We had a wedding. And one of the guests was in a wheelchair. He was a guy that was even bigger than me. Must have weighed 225, 250, I don't know. And his wife was a petite little gal, and she had on heels that were like this. I happened to be in front of them. And one of her heels broke. And she let go of him, and I was able to catch him. And I can only imagine what would have happened. The church would have had a new entrance at the bottom of the ramp. If he had gotten away. Last thing. Next to last thing. First funeral dinner I did here, we had here. Made myself a ham sandwich. And I took what I believed to be mayonnaise and slathered it all over that sandwich. I took one bite and realized that it was not mayonnaise. It was horseradish. My mouth burned for, I think, 3 days after that. And I tell you that because somebody was mentioning while we were sitting there at lunch that there was somebody in the community that said that they wanted you to do their funeral dinner here, okay? I don't remember who it was, but anyway. But just so many great memories. Those are just a scattering of things. It was a joy to see Laura here today. Because she was just this big when I was here. Now she's a mom with girls of her own that age. We just moved. A little bit of catch you up on where we've been. After I left here, we went to the state up north, okay, to Michigan. The church up there that had called me had a congregation of about 80 people. Little did I know in those 3 months, because I gave my 3 months notice and stayed and finished up with the folks here. Little did I know that during those 3 months, the church up there found out that their pastor had been having an extramarital affair with his secretary there at the church. Okay? He was no longer at the church, he had moved to a different church, but he was having that affair. So by the time we left here expecting a congregation of 80, when we got there it was a congregation of about 35. And they were unable to take care and support a full-time pastor. And after about a year they asked me if I would go bivocational, and I said, I hopefully gracefully declined. I'm not sure it was really graceful, but I declined. And the area minister up there found a new pastorate for my wife and I, Pat, to move to. And so we went. And that church had just lost a pastor that they had had for 15 years, who all 3 of his children had been born there, and they were in a seriously deep love relationship with him. And nothing I could do could satisfy them, and it was basically a one-family church with a lot of extended tentacles, so we were only there about 2.5 years. Then I got a call back to a church in Newark, Ohio, just east of Columbus, and had a good 13-year ministry there. That lasted from 1990 to about 2003. And then moved from there to Tip City, Ohio, a little village just north of Dayton. If you know your interstate system, we're 70 and 75 cross. We're the 3rd exit north of that. So was there just a couple months shy of 13 years. And I retired 2 years ago at the end of June. And we've been trying to sell our house ever since then. Everybody else sells their house in 2 weeks or 2 months. We took 2 years to do it. So Pat and I continued to do foster care until 2016, and haven't done that since. But we moved 3 weeks ago. So we are now in a suburb of Columbus called Grove City on the southwest side. And the reason I have my tennis shoes on is because I couldn't find my leather shoes yet. They're packed away someplace in a box. And probably tomorrow I will find them, okay? But Friday and Saturday when I was packing, I couldn't locate them. So I got to thinking, I sometimes wondered how you all put up with me. You had an older gentleman who retired as the man who preceded me, Herb Taylor. And then you call this young fellow that's just 2 years out of seminary and single and still wet behind the ears, and you love him. And you accepted Pat when she came along, and you loved her. You loved the both of us. And I probably was more in the law mode when I came, but by the time I left here, I learned an awful lot about grace. And I have learned in the meantime that if I have to err one way or the other, because that's the way God looks at me, that I err on the side of grace. And that's partly because of you all. And of your love for me and Pat and the time we spent here, and just what you did for us as a new pastor coming into the ministry and now having over 40 years in ministry. So I thank you. I thank you from the depths of my heart, and I appreciated when I got the letter that said you were having this celebration this weekend and invited me to come back. And so I just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And as a pastor, I probably took more time than I was supposed to.
You're excused.
Grace.
And now, Rev John Kress. He's been the pastor here since 2013. So, welcome back.
It just seems like maybe about 2 hours ago,
Yeah.
What can I say? Yeah. You are more than where Karen and I come to worship. You have brought us in and loved us. Loved us intimately in ways which we would never understand. We kid around that it's easy to do with Karen. Me, you got your hands full when you got me. But we love you. You love me. Even when my mother passed away this past summer. For some of you to make the trip of 5 hours, 4.5, 5 hours one way, just to be there for my family and me. That says a lot. I know of no other church family which has done that for their pastor. We have been trying different things since I've come here. Some things which seem out of the box, maybe I'm even out of my mind. But you allow me to try them. However, you will not allow me to make any more chicken, because like when he got the, Gary got the Royal Mail, I gave them hot, spicy chicken.
Fire chicken.
Fire chicken, as they call it. So I'm no longer allowed to make chicken. But we love you. And we love serving beside you. I really don't know what to say, because the emotion I feel is deep. And words are not enough to express it. I'm just privileged enough to know you and be there with you. And let's keep the ride going. But it's time to start wrapping things up. At least for this morning. Let us come together, if you would please stand. And we're going to do a responsive reading. It's our church covenant. Because we have been celebrating throughout this day where God has brought this church for the past 175 years. And it's great. But let us end on what God has planned for the next 175 plus years. Let us reestablish our covenant to Him and to each other. If you would read with me at the back of your hand. We believe in Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Influenced by His Spirit, we consecrate ourselves to His service and unite with one another in this covenant. We will live together in brotherly love and help one another to think, speak, and act as Christians. We will share each other's joys and endeavor with tenderness and sympathy to bear one another's burdens and sorrows. We will make prayer a part of our daily living, seeking God's help to enable us to do our daily tasks, to overcome temptations, and live righteously. We will attend services of the church with regularity. We pledge ourselves to show our appreciation of God's blessings by contributing cheerfully and regularly to the support of our church and its ministry to the world. We will, when we move from this place, unite with some other church where we can carry out the spirit of this covenant and the principles of God's Word. We will seek to live to the glory of Him who has called us into His service. May God of peace, through this covenant, make us perfect in every good work, to do that which is well-pleasing in His sight, through Jesus Christ, to whom be glory forever and ever. Amen. You may be seated, and before Greg comes up here, E-A. Make sure you hit one of these. And as just a little token church history, just a little reminder. But yet, well, this is great. The work ahead of us is even better. Let's strive towards that.
All right, I hope everybody was tired of good music. Now it's my turn. Play here a time or two. This is one of my favorites. I am weak, but thou art strong. Jesus, keep me from all wrong. I'll be satisfied as long as I walk. Let me walk close to thee. Just a closer walk with thee. Granted, Jesus is my plea. Daily walking close to thee. Let it be, dear Lord, let it be. Through this world of toils and snares, if I falter, Lord, who cares? Who with me my burden shares? None but thee, dear Lord, none but thee. Just a closer walk with thee. Granted, Jesus is my plea. Daily walking close to thee. Let it be, dear Lord, let it be. When my time on earth is over and my life will be no more, guide me gently to thy shore, to thy kingdom shore, to thy shore. Just a closer walk with thee. Granted, Jesus is my plea. Daily walking close to thee. Let it be, dear Lord, let it be. Go ahead and do the chorus again if you want to sing along. I don't care how bad you are. Neither does Jesus. Just a closer walk with thee. Is that all I got to read? And thank you for letting me be a part of this. I know somebody around here much, getting kind of lazy, I guess, but I'm always there for anybody else that I can help out too, so please keep that in mind. Thank you.